Hey there! Ever get that feeling like a poem is trying to tell you something more than what's right there on the page? Well, get ready, because today we are diving deep into this collection called Moving Rub 6x9 Inserted FUT LM8.txt.
Okay.
And let me tell you, it's all about these like echoes and layers. Think Rubaiyat, but with this whole new voice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's wild. So you know those classic Rubaiyat themes, love and life's pleasures, and how time just keeps on going? This poem, like, it takes those themes and like filters them through this really modern lens.
It's true. It's true.
It's really interesting.
And I think what really gets me about this collection is how it takes those like familiar themes, like you said, love, life's pleasures, passage of time, but it puts them through this like distinctly modern voice. It's almost like we're hearing Omar Khayyam's ideas, but like whispered through someone today.
Totally. And speaking of Khayyam, I have to admit, before I read this, pretty much all I knew about him was like, didn't he write that poem about wine and roses?
Yeah, you and everyone else. But the thing is, Khayyam, he wasn't just a poet.
Oh yeah, he was like a math whiz, right?
Yeah, brilliant mathematician and astronomer too.
Wow.
And that's important because it adds this whole other layer to his work.
Yeah.
This fascination with not just like the world you can touch, but all the mysteries beyond it. And this poem, man, it gets that.
Okay, so we've got wine and roses, we've got mysteries beyond. What else? What else is grabbing you in these verses?
Okay, so we can't talk about the Rubaiyat without talking about how it celebrates those earthly delights.
Right.
Remember, this is a time and a place where life could be really unpredictable, you know, even harsh sometimes.
Yeah.
So finding joy in the moment,
Yeah.
indulging in beauty and pleasure, that was like everything. And this poem, it celebrates that.
Yeah, I get that. Like, why not enjoy life's pleasures?
Right.
Like you said, life is unpredictable. We only get this one. Why not have a glass of wine? Why not enjoy the company of our friends and loved ones?
Exactly.
Soak it all in.
And the poem uses this really vivid language to pull us into that experience. Just look at this verse. A book of verses underneath the bough, a jug of wine, a loaf of bread, and thou beside me singing in the wilderness, oh wilderness, where paradise and now.
Oh, I love that line. It makes you can practically feel the warmth of the sun, taste the wine, hear the laughter.
You're right there.
Yeah. And the imagery. That line about how tangled tresses are more captivating than studying the stars. It's a classic Rubaiyat.
Oh, it is.
Right.
And this poem, it uses that same kind of like playful tone to remind us that even the smartest people need to unwind sometimes, to enjoy the simple things, the things that actually make life, you know, worth it.
It is kind of refreshing. It really is. In a world that's constantly telling us to do more, be more, buy more, you know.
Right.
This poem is like a little whisper.
Yeah.
Just to be.
Just to be.
Enjoy the moment we're in.
It's not even about just indulging to indulge.
Yeah.
You know, this whole embracing the tangible, embracing pleasure. It's like this launching off point for the poem to explore these even deeper themes.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Where does it go from here?
Well, it's funny you mentioned launching off point because the poem uses nature the same way.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, like a jumping off point for these bigger ideas.
Now that you mention it, nature really is everywhere in this collection.
Yeah.
Like, there's this back and forth between us humans and the natural world. It's like they're inseparable or something.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And that's where we really start to see those Rubaiyat themes, those echoes, just get deeper and deeper. Just like Khayyam, this poet, they see nature as way more than just a pretty background.
Right.
It's like, it's a source of comfort, right?
Yeah.
It's a mirror for what we're feeling.
Yeah.
It's even like a sacred space.
It is. There's that one line about a place where the bluebirds sing, where the lilacs ne'er know it isn't spring.
Yeah.
Doesn't that just sound like paradise?
It totally does.
It does.
And it speaks to that very human thing we all want, peace. A place where our worries just disappear and beauty is all there is. But, and this is what I think is really cool, The poem connects that natural paradise with love.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Love in nature. Okay, I see it. There's some really cool metaphors happening in this poem.
Metaphors, imagery, you name it. It's really beautiful. Remember that line? Hold on. In the soil we shared, these flowers we chose. Truth, tulip, goodness, lily, beauty, rose.
Oh, yeah, it's
But
coordinated.
saying something way deeper than flowers are pretty.
Right. It's about how love is like a garden, right? You've got to take care of it. And no matter the storms, because you know life is going to throw them at us, love can still be so strong.
Absolutely.
But this might just be me. There's something about time passing throughout this whole poem. It's like this shadow over everything.
No, you're right. It's like you get comfortable in this like perfect world. You've got your earthly pleasures, beautiful nature, and then boom, the poem reminds you it won't last.
It's giving me gather ye rosebuds while ye may, but like with a cosmic twist.
Yes. And that's where this poem takes a different path from the original Rubaiyat.
Really?
Even though it's echoing the structure, it's not just accepting that time passes. It's like, why are we even here?
Oh, wow.
What does it all mean? You know, those big questions.
Yeah. Big time existential dread. Was that a thing back in Khayyam's day? Or is this poem like going totally rogue?
Oh, Khayyam knew all about existentialism, trust me. His poetry went there all the time. Life, death, the universe, the whole deal.
Wow.
But what's cool is, this new poem, it takes those anxieties we've always had, but makes them feel modern.
Okay, give me an example. How does this poet take that classic Rubaiyat style and just blow it up?
Okay, check this out and tell me what you think, okay? Yeah. This image, the thirsty sun raising the morn's dewdrops, and sculpts a mist, forming clouds of airdrops. Long the world lies dry in afternoon's beam, till quenching darkness cries forth its teardrops.
Okay, wow. I mean, on one level, it's just a really beautiful description of day and night, right?
Right. But there's more to it.
Right.
It's like time is a character, and it's just consuming every moment.
You're right, it is like this violent image,
Yeah.
the way the sun just drinks up those dewdrops, and even the darkness is like parched. Like it needs that relief from time just marching on.
Yes. And that urgency, that feeling that time is always slipping away. That's what gives this poem its power.
It's so true. You know, it's funny you mentioned this earlier, but Khayyam was a math guy, right? And an astronomer.
Yeah.
You think that had anything to do with how he dealt with these big existential questions? And now this poet too.
It's hard to say for sure, but I definitely think there's a connection there. Like, imagine spending your life thinking about how huge the universe is
Yeah.
and how complex nature is. It just makes sense that you start asking the big questions. What's it all about? What's our place in all of this?
Right.
And that's what this poem does so well. One minute you're in this quiet garden with someone, and then the next you're out in the cosmos.
That's true.
The poem blurs those lines between what's personal and what's universal.
That makes me think of that line, all from stardust, begins and ends in thee.
Oh, I love that one.
It's such a simple line,
Yeah.
but so deep.
So much there.
I say we're all connected, we're all part of this huge cosmic cycle.
Exactly.
It makes you feel pretty small, but also kind of amazed.
For sure.
So, what's the takeaway? You've spent a lot of time with this poem. What's it telling us to do with all of this?
That is the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think there's a few different things going on. On the one hand, just embrace the mystery. It's okay not to know everything, you know? Find some beauty in that unknown.
Right.
But I also think it's a call to action.
Really? A call to action? How so?
Well, if we're all connected, if we're all from that same stardust, then it changes how we see ourselves
Yeah.
and how we see the world.
It's like all of a sudden everything matters more. You know? It's not just me in my own little world anymore.
Exactly. It's realizing that what we do matters. Like even the smallest things we do can change things for other people, for the world, you know? And that whole idea of being connected, it makes me think about how the poem talks about heaven.
Okay, this is gonna be good. We've got earthly pleasures, we've got these huge cosmic mysteries, and now we're adding heaven to it all. This poem is something else.
That's like a philosophical buffet. There's
Yeah.
something for everyone. But no, seriously, the way this poem talks about heaven, It's playful, but it's also really deep. There are these verses that are all about the traditional idea of paradise, like being rewarded in the afterlife and all that. But then it just takes this turn.
Ooh, I love a good turn. What kind of turn are we talking here?
It's like the poet is saying, okay, sure, maybe heaven is real, but what if we could have that right now?
Major Carpe Diem vibes.
Right? Totally. Remember that verse, in heaven the pleasure drums beat like rain, or so 'tis claimed to relieve mortal pain. But we needn't pay for promise beyond here. From life's currency, we've the same. It's like the poet is saying, you don't have to wait to experience joy. You can have it now.
It really does challenge how we usually think about heaven. It's not about being good enough to get into some perfect place after you die. It's about seeing the beauty and the amazing things that are already here in this life.
Yes.
Exactly. And it doesn't stop there. There's another verse, that one goes, heaven, houris, Kaiser's fount exist, they say, and there pure wine and honeyed sweets have they. Fill up and pass the cup, far better cash than is 1,000 promises to pay. It's like the poet is saying all those promises about heaven. They sound nice, but honestly, wouldn't you rather enjoy a glass of wine and have a good conversation with someone right now? It's about enjoying the things we can experience right now, the things we can taste and touch and feel.
Before we started this whole deep dive, I never would have thought about the Rubaiyat as being rebellious, but this poem, it really has that energy, that questioning everything, and that focus on finding joy in this moment right now.
It's really cool.
It is. That's what makes this poem so powerful, so real for us today. Everything is telling us to do more, be more, have more. And this poem, it just wants us to slow down, appreciate what's right in front of us, find joy in just being alive.
We could all use a little bit of that, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. And if after this you find yourself really enjoying that next glass of wine, or looking up at the stars and feeling that sense of wonder, or even just opening up a book of poetry and getting lost in it, then I think we've done our job.
I couldn't agree more. Thanks for coming with us on this journey through love and life and time and the universe. And until next time, keep those minds curious and those hearts open.